We are amazing because our passion is limitless and our drive is intense. Therefore, you will not deny our grind. You are now listening to the Faith, Grind, and Inspire podcast.
Welcome back to another great episode of Faith, Grind, Inspire. I am your host, Gene Alert, and today we have Dr. Stacie NC Grant in the building. How are you doing today?
I am excited. I'm on Faith, Grind, Inspire. Hello, somebody.
Hello,
it's
somebody.
Great to be here with you, Gene. I'm so excited about what you're doing and the space that you occupy.
Thank you so
Faith,
much.
Grind, Inspire. Those are three of the best words in the English dictionary, so I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. See, that's the best I've ever heard, right? So your husband's in the building, right? And I want to say this right now. I want to say the first time I got a phone call from her, I was like, wow. It was like smile ear to ear. The intro was like, is this the amazing Dr. Gene Alert? I was like, yes. I was like, you gotta text my wife and tell her how to answer if she calls me.
It was the world famous.
It was the world famous Gene Alert. I was
exactly.
like, yes, yes. So, and we were discussing single man, married man, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the number one chapter, the first chapter, the number one question or that we got from women was they didn't want to stroke a man's ego, right? And when you did that to me, I was like, oh my goodness. Like I didn't even know who was calling me.
It took like 5 minutes for you to ask, well, who's speaking?
Yes.
Because I caught you off guard.
You did.
I mean, it's a shame that women get caught up in what they perceive will be received as, oh, I'm sweating him, or as what do the kids say? They thirsty.
Thirsty.
No, there's a way to present yourself and to make people feel comfortable. I love to see people smile.
Yeah.
That is a part of my DNA. So if I can say a compliment to you or just make you feel good, then you'll never forget who I am. So
true.
ladies, if you're looking for that man and you want to make that mark, make him feel good. What does it hurt to tell him that he's wonderful or amazing? I use the same lines that men use on me back on them, and they usually can't handle it.
they can't handle it. They're like, whoa, I wasn't expecting
Hold on.
that.
They get caught off guard. I remember one time, Gene, when I was younger, this guy said, wait, I got something caught in my eye. So he's like on the street. I thought something happened. And I was like, okay, are you all right, sir? He said, oh, a piece of your beauty got caught in my eye. I had to give him the come on, son. Like really, but it was a good line.
Yeah.
I used it on somebody else,
when
I pre-marriage.
Yeah, pre-marriage. How long you guys been married?
Next month will be 23 years.
Wow.
And
Applaud everybody.
And I still like him.
Yeah.
He
I love
hates
it.
when I use that example, but it's so true.
It's true.
Because I had one of my sorority members tell me when she was celebrating her 25th wedding anniversary, and I was a teenager, and she said, look, when you marry, just don't love him. Make sure you like him. And I didn't understand really what she was saying at that point. Now I do, because love is not enough. It's the foundation, it's what you have, but you have to like the person. And I love turning over in the morning and seeing that face.
No,
that still makes my heart melt, because you have to like the person. You have to be able to be equally yoked and not just marry for the wrong reasons. A lot of times we know it's the wrong person, and we try to just forge ahead and ignore all the signs instead of asking God to direct and lead to join you so you can truly be equally yoked and enjoy each other. Because the work I do, the life I live, if I didn't have him as a partner, it'd be really hard. Because I'm a lot to deal with, darling. So it had to be the right man that God handpicked for me so that I can support him, and I can treasure him, and I can celebrate him, and he can do the same for me. There's no competition, because we know that our institution is divinely ordained.
Yes, well said. So with that intro, right, now
we're going to talk about business.
Now we're going to talk about business. Yeah, so where are you from?
So I am an island child from Jamaica, West Indies.
Okay.
So that's where my family's from, Jamaica. And grew up here in New York. My mother wanted to, have a half Yankee picnic. So all the Jamaicans in the house that know what that means. But my extended family I grew up with came from Liberia, West Africa. So I have a big influence on my life from the West African culture. Okay. And then there's another part of me, Gene. Jugada mi coco. That's the other side. That's my inner Latina.
she did the facial expressions and everything.
She goes out every now and then. Porque I found out that on my dad's side, We are Jamaican, but it seems as if we are also Cuban.
Oh, nice.
So for years,
Okay.
it was a running joke. My friends call me Coco because she comes out every now and then.
Yeah.
But now I can legitimately document it, honey. I'm going to check the genes.
Yeah. My father's dad is from Cuba.
Really? We might be cousins.
Yeah, we might be. We might be. You know,
You never know.
there's a lot of Haitians that worked in Haiti, and some of the Cubans went over to Haiti.
Absolutely. Oh, it's all a mixture.
Yeah, it's
and
all a
that's
mixture.
why
Everybody
love
from the islands is from.
Yeah.
Everybody's related somehow. We all from Africa.
Exactly. I was just about to say we all come from the same place,
Yep,
and
yep,
you know,
yep.
as Jamaicans, out of one, many people. So we have a melting pot of all different cultures.
Absolutely. So grew up in New York. What part of New York?
The boogie down, baby.
Oh, the Bronx.
That's right. Where the people are fresh.
Okay.
That's
You got
right, in the belly.
Ink Mimosa's like, here we
All
go.
of a sudden, I get extra love, right? From the Bronx. So the
He was
boogie
quiet the
down.
whole
The
time.
whole time. He just woke up.
Yo, when people from the Bronx, they start throwing the Wakanda. They start throwing up the Wakanda side, the
Absolutely.
X's.
Because
us Brooklyn guys are like,
see, the Brooklyn folks,
here
you
we
think
go.
you're your own city and
We
town
are.
and country all in one. Like
We are.
Brooklyn. So now I'm representing for the Bronx.
yo,
today.
Brooklyn is the United States.
Oh, so here we go. Here we go.
It should be called the United States of Brooklyn. And then everything else.
And then everything else. Well, I represent two boroughs. I grew up in the Bronx, but I currently live in Queens.
Oh, okay. All right, cool.
That's where
All right,
Queens
cool.
should reside, in Queens.
Yes. All right. So, grew up. How's your childhood? Like how? Because you have a lot of energy. So how was that
Yeah.
growing up? Were you like an entrepreneur growing up? Did you like? Yeah.
Yeah, Gene, this started early on.
Okay.
And my mom has told the story so many times. I even wrote it in my book because I relived the memory as if I really can relive the memory. But this whole career of mine started in kindergarten.
Really?
Yes. So my grandfather's side of the family, they were educators in
Okay.
Jamaica. They were the headmasters of the school. That's like the principal here. So when my grandparents migrated to the U.S., they switched roles. And my grandfather was home and my grandmother went out and worked. So he was home watching me. So babysitting wasn't babysitting. He taught me how to read and how to do my math before I even entered school. So the first day of school, my mother took off from work. As anyone who has children, the first day of school can be very traumatic because you don't know how your child is going to react with separation anxiety. Well, my mother was all prepared for it. She took myself and my cousin to school. She said I jumped up out of the car, put on my backpack, kissed her bye, spun on my heels, and went straight in the building, didn't even turn back. Meanwhile, my cousin is crying. She's throwing up. She's like, oh, I can't go in. So she's taking care of her while I went in. Said she came back, and the teacher said, can I see you for a minute? Now, that's any parent's nightmare.
Yes.
Like, what could have possibly happened? It's the first day of school. What did my child do? So the teacher said, well, your daughter's pretty impressive. I see she already knows how to read, and she can count, and that's great, but there's one problem. So my mother said her heart was like, what's the problem? She said she keeps gathering all the kids around and teaching them their ABCs and their numbers because she doesn't understand that I'm the teacher. So it started right then. My mother said, she did what? And she said I wasn't rude, but I would gather the kids because I thought I was the head of the class.
Yes.
So that started from kindergarten, and thereon went the rest of my life being a little leader and using my mouth in a way to help people.
Yes.
You know, not to bring them down or to make them feel bad. I always wanted to see people happy. And
Yes.
whatever I learned, I wanted to share it.
Yes.
So in high school, I went to St. Catherine Academy
Okay.
for young angels in the Bronx, New York.
Yes.
And then I ran for president for the school junior year, which was unheard of. And I lost the election by a little bit, but it didn't dissuade me. I went on senior year and I won. I was school president. I started
Nice.
organizations. I was a part of a African American leadership program called the ALP. So it was always in me. And then I went to college and I was told to whom much is given, much is required. So there was work to do. So I've never been comfortable just sitting and existing. I always wanted to be a part of solutions and a part of strategy. And I'm fortunate to be able to use my voice and use a platform now that I got in trouble for talking in school my entire life.
Yes.
Now I get paid to do it and to see
I
the
said
results.
that to somebody. I was like, I used to get in trouble. People used to call the teachers used to call my house like, Gene's great. His grades are great, but he just talks so much. Now I
Now
told
look
my
at what you
wife,
do. Faith Grind
Faith Grind
Inspire.
Inspire. I can talk as long as I want.
and not have anyone stop you.
No.
My mother actually kept all my report cards, and she handed it to me when I graduated from undergrad.
Oh yeah, it's always I talk too much.
Yeah, talk too much.
Talk too much.
And I would talk to anybody.
Yeah.
You know, the teacher would think
Oh,
if
yeah.
you moved away from the friends, the conversation would stop.
No.
I talk to everybody.
Talk to everybody.
I talk to the wall if I had to. Like, I'm
For
just
real.
going to talk. You can't
I talk
shut me
to
up.
everybody, like people on the train. I'm like, hey, smile, like
I do the same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And it catches people off guard. We're living in a world that's very troubled and sometimes can be very dark. People just want to be acknowledged. If I'm online at a store, I'll ask someone, what's your name? And they're like, nobody ever wants to know my name. They just want to buy and get their goods and walk out the store. You know, I get off the bus. We're grumpy in New York.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, have a good day, sir. I'm like, have a good day, sir. And it'll catch them off guard because no one talks to each other anymore. We're so busy moving about, focused on our phones. Just human courtesy, simple kindness can really make a difference.
Absolutely.
And that's how you build relationships like you have with Faith Grind Inspire. It's all about building conversations, making people feel comfortable, and adding value.
Yes.
That's what I do every day.
Yes.
And then I have to have fun, Gene, because if it's not fun, I'm not doing it.
That's right. No, but this is what makes us happy,
Absolutely.
So you said you were part of sorority. What sorority are you part of?
Oh, the number one sorority on the planet, Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated.
Okay. All right. What college did you went to?
St. John's University.
Oh, you went to St. John's. Oh, okay. Cool. A lot of my friends and colleagues, they went to St. John's too.
Yes. So
okay.
Shout out to my sorors and all Divine Nine. We all choose our organizations based on what we feel is a fit for how we give service, how we participate in sisterhood and brotherhood. So we tease each other of who's number one because we all feel we're number one. But ultimately, if we're all doing our job, then we're adding value in the world. If we're all doing our job, we're promoting scholarship for Black and brown faces predominantly that are in schools and institutions that didn't take us when our organizations were founded. If we're really doing our job, we're promoting how we work together and truly collaborate and network. And if we're all doing our job, humankind becomes better as a result of our service and our dedication. So I take it very serious. This June will be 30 years that I've been a financial and active member with uninterrupted service. Boom.
That's a clip right there. That's a clip. You heard that, Bree? So, and I don't usually say that. Well, that was great. So, okay. So, tell me, what's your business?
So, my business has been figuring out entrepreneurship, making a lot of mistakes along the way, enjoying great success, but now settling in on what I know God has intended for me to do. See, I was building business, Gene, but God was already setting a platform and a foundation the whole time. While I'm thinking, well, God, I'm going to start this Destiny Designers University. I'm going to do training and development for entrepreneurs.
To pause, I'm sorry, because I skipped the question.
You skipped the question.
Because this is what you're doing now. When you came out of college, what did you do?
Okay, so we'll
go back.
Push a pin in that.
Yeah.
So we'll go back because of my ability to articulate my thoughts and ideas and defend myself very well. People kept encouraging me to become an attorney.
Yes.
Oh, I see you as an attorney. I see you as a lawyer. So, you say yes too. Like, yeah, I can see that. So I started to believe it. And sometimes we listen to other people's expectations and descriptions of who we are rather than tapping into the authentic of who you've been called to be.
Yes.
So I was listening to their voice and I said, all right, let me do this pre-law thing. And I graduated school and I went on to the DA's office in the Bronx. And that was my opportunity to kind of test the waters to see if this is what I wanted to do. And Gene, I was so depressed getting out of that train every day to see Black and brown faces wrapped around that criminal court building.
Wow.
I physically got sick.
Yeah.
I stayed there for, it's going on 2 years, maybe a year and a half. I have to really think back and look back on my resume. But the time I was there, I met great people, worked with great people, but I couldn't take it. I said, who is doing the work to prevent us from getting to the court system? Who is helping to stop our Black and brown babies from being processed every single day? And I did a 360. I said, I can't do this. And I pulled out and applied to go for my ED at Columbia. And I said, I want to be on the other side. I want to be on the other side of helping to create opportunities for Black and brown boys and girls to know that they come from kings and queens. Because if you know who you are, you won't subject yourself to acting outside of who you were created to be. So that was the path that I thought, but God had something else in store. And then the second part of the story, Gene, is I told my mother, I'm not going to last working for anybody for too long. I don't think I'm cut out for it.
She could have told you that in kindergarten.
I don't think this is going to work too well for me. So I did my corporate America stint. I got experience, but I ultimately knew I wanted to create my own business. I wanted to be in control of opportunities and in control of putting money in other people's pockets, because ultimately that's what you build business for, not just to make money for yourself, but to be able to employ others and to help them fine tune their skills and talents. Because not everybody is cut out to be an entrepreneur.
No.
It looks cute.
Yeah.
And it looks wonderful to say, I'm a boss. And you hand out the business cards, I'm an entrepreneur. But are you ready to go through
absolutely
the grit, the grind, and the struggle, right? Faith, grind, inspire. This is real life. And you don't know about it until you actually walk in those shoes. And the ability to choose, because it's a choice, to say, I'm going to give my life in a service capacity to provide goods, to provide a platform, to provide service, to create real estate opportunities, to build an organization. That's a choice. And not everybody can do it because they need a paycheck every week. And that's fine. No judgment. But you have to grind to get the things that you desire as an entrepreneur. And it's not for everybody, and it's not for the faint at heart. And without my faith, there's no way I'd be able to inspire today.
Yes. Oh, man, I feel inspired too. Oh, you're a lucky man. Yo, I'm like, wow. Yo, I love this. So
I love being here with you because this is the conversation that people need to hear.
Yes.
So let me insert comment.
Yes.
When I heard
insert comment
about your podcast, and just the title, and I want to give a shout out to Jermaine Miller, who was on your podcast, 93 Cents.
Yes.
I loved his content, what he shared. He sent a clip, and I was just so impressed by the title and the professionalism by which you showed the video. I just said, this is just awesome. And he was the one that said, well, I need to introduce you. I said, well, that's fine, but I just need whoever is doing this to know this is first class. Because you see the level of mastery and the level of detail when you're in business and you know what is half and what is 100 plus. So shout out to you and your team for what you are doing and what you're creating. That means a lot to me.
Thank you so much.
Because you can't see, you can't be what you don't see. So we need to know that there's Black excellence everywhere.
Yes.
And I'm not ashamed to say I'm rooting all day for everybody that look like me.
Yes.
And we come in different shades, different colors, but we all have the same brilliance. And we are living in a time where we have to remind our young people that they just don't get to do what they do without a price. People pay the price for us to sit here and have this conversation in this station.
Yes.
For you to do what you're doing to create faith, grind, inspire. I don't take anything for granted because when I walk in, I know I'm walking in as an answered prayer to my grandmother and her mother's mother's mother.
Yes.
So this is serious business for me, the work that I do.
Absolutely. You know what? Thank you so much because I just had this conversation not too long ago with a group of kids, right? And I told them, because they said, why are you doing the work that you're doing? Why are you here? You could be, it was raining outside. Why are you here? Because we're only sixth graders. And I said, I'm here because someone sacrificed for my parents to get to America. Then my mom left me in Haiti and she sacrificed for me to get to America. Now I'm in America and I see all the opportunities. I need to sacrifice. I don't have to sacrifice and sleep on a couch, and I don't have to do all that, what my parents went through. My mom had to endure a lot of pain and suffering. Just like a lot of immigrants, they had to learn the language and, you know, people make fun of them and whatever it is. So I don't have to go through that because they went through it, but I understand it and I respect it. Absolutely. So my mom always taught me that I'm a king and I need to respect myself as a king. And I come from an island of presidents, of leaders, of doctors, engineers, any type of career that you could think of. Haiti, you came from that. So when you come to this country, know that there's great opportunity for you. You could do anything that you want. Don't let anyone stop you, but you have to respect yourself. That was the biggest thing. Respect yourself and respect how you walk. Always walk with your head up.
That's right.
And know that you're a king. So even though I wasn't the popular kid in school, I didn't have all the girls in school. At least in my school, I had them outside of school. but the thing about it is, like, but the thing is, people respected me, and I used the part or the gift that God gave me, which was the gift of gabbing, right? And so I was able to have everyone conversing with me, and everyone always loved to talk to me. And which helped me in sales, because I ended up having a little business in school. I was selling mixtapes, and I was generating like $1,000 a week selling these.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So, but I was telling these kids, I said, look, the reason why is because I respect where I came from and the sacrifices. Mm-hmm. I was like, as kids, you might not see that yet, but because your parents are so big, we live in a time now where there's a lot of stress on these young parents. And there's a lot of stress on parents, period, and so especially in the inner city,
absolutely.
Especially in the inner city.
Absolutely.
And because, so now the parents sort of it's not their fault sometimes.
They're still growing up.
But they're still growing up.
Some of them are still growing up. They're still learning how to become adults.
They're still learning. Mm-hmm. And so, but it's like they don't have time. Because they're trying to keep the roof over their kid's head. They're trying to put food in their kid's mouth. So they don't have time to be like, you're a king. It's like, you're a queen. Respect yourself. Like,
those conversations.
But those conversations get lost. Mm-hmm. So then, guess what? Guess who's having the conversation with your kid?
The street.
The street.
Absolutely. Because we've come away from who we are as a people.
Mm-hmm.
There's community time to sit around the table, to eat dinner, to have conversations. My sister used to make fun of me when our sons were growing up because we would tell them, say, I'm a champion, I'm a winner. We would have them repeat that over and over. She's like, oh my gosh, that sounds so obnoxious. And why do you have them say, you have to build self-esteem. And recently we had a family meeting ending the year, something that I always call family meetings for different reasons. And to hear them articulate the fact like, Mom, Dad, if you didn't instill that confidence in us, there were so many things we wouldn't have been able to deal with.
Oh, yeah.
My youngest kept away from me that people were trying to bully him, but he knew how to handle it because his level of confidence was at a certain space and place. And it's important for parents to understand you have to be the first person to celebrate your child.
Yes.
So they know what that feels like.
Yes.
I thought everybody did that, Gene. I didn't know that there were people who didn't do that.
I thought so too.
Because my mother told me that I could do anything that I wanted to do. She didn't put any limitations. Whatever I said, my mother was 150%. She just told me, if you're going to do it, finish it.
Yes.
And if you're going to finish it, give it your best.
Yes.
So you couldn't start and stop. I look at kids that say, oh, well, I wanted to do this. I'm done. Done? In my house? Do it. If you said you wanted to do it, you're going to finish it.
Yeah.
Because there's a level of grit and determination that you organically build when you don't quit.
Yes.
And our kids today, they give up too easy because they don't have the right words in their ears. So I'm so grateful to my mom for how she raised me. Sometimes I think she scratches her head because I'm maybe a little overconfident. Not obnoxious, but I'm not going to let anybody dim my light because I used to. I used to shy back. I used to not be at 100 because it would intimidate people. Now, if you can't take my shine, you better go get some sunglasses, baby.
Ooh.
Because it's on.
Bars. So I love that. But you know what? I think that you said something about the bullying and he was confident. And that's exactly what it is. Because you can't get bullied if you are confident. Absolutely. There's no way.
Absolutely.
I remember kids used to try to make fun of me because I never had sneakers. Like, I only wore sneakers at gym. My mom, oh, you do? My mom used to give me one pair of sneakers for the year, and it was for gym. So all the kids used to come through with the 2s, the 3s, the 15s, whatever the numbers are for the Jordans. I had 0. I still have 0, And I would only have Air Maxes, all white, right? Oh, no. I had the ones, the white ones, or whatever, the Air Force Ones.
Air Force
and
One.
I had a pair of Air Maxes That was it, 2 pairs. And so, so instead of the kids making fun of me, right, they would try, but then I'll hit them with, well, you're always gonna wear sneakers. Like, and I'm a boss. Like, I'm always, bosses don't wear sneakers. Kids wear sneakers.
Oh, that's a good comeback.
And I was like that. And then now as an adult, some of these guys are still wearing sneakers, and I'm not wearing sneakers, you know, because I'm a boss, you know. So, but they get it. They're like, "Yo, Gene, man, you always like that," and I'm like, "Yeah." And I like the fact that my mom used to, because I was always a little bit more mature, you know, like growing up, because that's how they trained us. Like my mom trained me. My mom and dad trained me. I saw my father. He had such discipline with work, you know, he would wake up at 4:00 in the morning. He was always out. He just retired. And now he's just like, I don't even know what to do with myself.
Because he's used to that.
So I told him to get into real estate, you know, like go into something where you could control, you know. So he was used to 4:00 in the morning. His regimen it was so strict, you know, and I was just like, yo. So
you
growing,
set a clock right.
Yeah, 4:00 up, 5:30 out, work, come home 7, take off his shoes, go upstairs, take shower, eat, plan for the next day, watch whatever it was, wrestling or whatever. Now he's into church. So for a couple of years he's a pastor now. So now it's read the Bible, go to sleep, repeat. You know, so his thing, that was him. So
consistency and
consistency.
That's
and
my
I saw
husband's mantra.
Yeah. So I see the consistency. And that's something, you know, to go back into this, it's when people are consistent and people are persistent, you win. You know?
Absolutely.
That's it.
Who said it? Was it Will Smith that talked about someone might be more talented than him, but they can't outwork him?
They can't outwork him?
I love that. When he said that, it wasn't the first time I heard it, but the passion that he brought behind that statement just brought it alive, because that's the truth.
It is.
And if you focus on what you do, because no one can do you the way you do you. That's one of the things I write about in my book. If you stay true to that, and for those who understand anointing, my anointing won't look good on you, but yours will slay all day if you walk in it.
If you walk in it.
So that is the key, and that's what I share with people. We all are works in progress. I'm not perfect. Yes, I have an amazing platform that I get to lead, teach, and inspire by speaking, by publishing books, by helping clients to get to a result, not just be inspired and be motivated for the moment, but to create some traction, to have some sustainability that you can actually build your gifts, your skills, your talents in a way that the world is better because you're here. And if you can just stay focused on what you do and not look to the right and look to the left and get all confused because you want it to look like what Gene's doing, and you want it to look like what Andrew's doing, look like what God gave you to do.
Yes.
And if you focus on mastering that, just like in the book, The Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, I love that book. He talks about 10,000 hours of mastery.
Yes.
I've been speaking for a long time. And I'm honored that people say, oh, I wish I could talk like you. And, you know, I get to work with the greats like Les Brown and George Frazier. All of that is wonderful, but I've been doing my work. You can't get ready. You have to be ready for the opportunity strikes that you can take advantage of it. And it's getting people to live in that reality. Stop comparing yourself to the Joneses. You don't know what their backstory is.
No.
You don't know what they've been through. Even Oprah. She's my bestie in my head. But Oprah's story didn't begin at the top of the world.
No, it didn't.
She went through a lot.
Yes.
If you know her story, her sacrifice, the losses, I'm more impressed by her resilience than her billions.
Yes. It's true.
I'm more impressed by her resilience because it reminds me that I can't quit when the going gets tough. Trouble doesn't last always.
No, it doesn't.
Challenges doesn't last always. But what I've learned is God is always conspiring on your behalf. So everything that you go through is not wasted. And it's preparing you for how he's going to blow your mind with the manifestation of your divine assignment.
Talking about divine, right? Alignment with divine purpose. Explain that to me.
So I feel that people try to avoid their truth. And I didn't want to avoid my truth. I believe that God is the author and the finisher of my faith. And I also know that everybody doesn't believe as I believe. So I'm not in the business of trying to convince you or judge you for what you believe, but I'm not going to be silent about who God is in my life,
In your life.
and how that operates in business for me. There's no separation of church and state. For me, God first in everything. And what's for me, it's for me. And what he's ordained for me to do, he'll ordain for me to do. People say, well, maybe you shouldn't talk about God so much. You'll turn people off. You'll ruin opportunities for corporate clients. You won't get a certain audience. And I said, really? Well, I guess they weren't for me. Because my faith tells me that the man who gave me the gift, the man who gave me the talent, he will make room for that to be appreciated. So I wanted to create a conversation where those who are unapologetic in their faith, just like me, could feel comfortable in their conversations and discussions. It doesn't have to feel like it's a church service every time we get together, but there's a level of comfort in me talking about my faith because that's what I know.
Yep.
And my faith has sustained me, and the divine blessing and alignment with the skill set has allowed me to produce product, program, and service to help other people.
Yeah.
So that divine alignment is going into prayer and saying, God, what would you have me do? Because I was confused, Gene. I wanted to set goals like everybody else. By this age, I'm going to this, and by this time, I'm going to have this, and I, until I had to press the pause button and say, no, not what I want to do, but God, what would you have me do with what you've given me? And when you walk in that obedience, when you walk in that anointing, things start to shift that you can't even control.
That's so true.
Because God is the one that's orchestrating. He's just waiting for you to say, I surrender, rather than you trying to figure it out and tell God what to bless. Because that was part of my prayer. Well, I want this, this, and this. So just bless that, Jesus. Because I figured it out. And he's like, oh, really? Okay, child. We plan and God laughs.
That right there was powerful because I want this by this age. I want a kid. I want to be married by this age. I want my husband to look like this. I want my wife to look like this. I want her to have this. I want this type of house.
But there's a difference. So let me just pause.
Yes.
You can dream a dream.
Oh, you can dream. Okay.
You can want those things, but
Okay.
the first thing should be, God, what would you desire for me? What would you want me to
Got
do?
it.
These are the desires of my heart, and he will give you the desires of your heart as long as you put him first.
Put him first.
See, that's the part we skip over.
Got it.
When we put him first, all things work together for good for them that love God and are called according to his purpose. But we don't put him first and we try to control it.
Okay.
Then we hit the roadblock. And then who you going to pray you out of the situation? It's so much easier to say, well, should I do that or should I do that? Because if he says yes, it goes whoop and it's done. So that's a growth process. In faith, you can talk faith all day. Show me how you live faith.
Show me how you live faith.
Applied faith. Because that's not easy.
So
That's when you don't see the end, but you're still trusting that it will work out.
That's true. Now, this show is all about mindset, right? And we've been talking about a lot of mindset, and we've been talking about some good strategies. I know you teach about mindset transformation, right? So, first, in business, what mindset do you think you have that makes you successful in your business endeavors? But what can other people do to help them too with their mindset transformation?
So with mindset transformation, the first thing that I would say is to have a real conversation with yourself.
With yourself.
Real
Key.
conversation.
You guys heard that?
Real conversation with yourself, because people around you that know and love you, they know you to a certain extent, but only you know the truth of who you are. So your mindset is going to be affected by how you are congruent with your behavior. So if you know that there are things that are challenging for you, if you know you have something that's like the Achilles heel for you, that is a challenge, address it, get help for it, ask for support. You don't ask for help because you're weak. You ask for help because you want to remain strong. And your mind will start to believe the story you're telling it if you're moving in a direction of getting the help you need to strengthen the areas that are not as strong. We know our strengths. That's easy. So let me give you an example when you talk about mindset. For me, one of the challenges that I talk about all the time is my health and wellness, being consistent with that. Because, Gene, I'd rather watch other people work out and the weight fall off of me.
Don't we all?
That's what I wish. Right? And it's something that I have to consciously be in conversations with My health coaches. I have medical doctors that are good friends of mine that have programs, and we do in collaboration, because for Destiny Designers University, it's your mind, it's your body, it is your ability to just be resilient through every facet of your life, including finances, etc. So when we get to the mind piece, we have to have people in our front row that are going to check us on where we need to grow. That uncomfortable space, that space that is preventing us to get to the next level. So I use myself as an example all the time. Like, I have to constantly be in conversations of how I get back on the track that I know works. Because when you know better, you do better. And it's not about focusing on what's wrong, but doing more of the right thing. So I have a husband who works out all the time like Adonis. Like, oh my God. So like, he never looks his age. Like, he's disciplined. He will work out. He will, he'll eat the same thing as me, but 2 minutes on my lips, forever on the hips. So I have to be conscious of drinking more water and moving, because it affects my ability to function in the other areas of my life.
Got it.
And your mindset only gets strong when you create harmony between the areas that you are trying to excel. So that's finances, that's your mental health, that's your physical health, and spiritual. And those are the 4 components that we focus on in Destiny Designers University with those that we work with. And from that led our Faithpreneur movement.
I like Faithpreneur.
You like, don't you?
Yeah, Faithpreneur. Faithpreneur.
Faithpreneur, when God rested that in my spirit, I was like, that's it. Because you're in business. First thing in business, who's your audience? What niche are you serving? And people would tell me that all the time. And I was very stubborn and rebellious. I'm like, I'm for everybody. If you have a pulse and you're within 1 foot of me, you're my client. That's not true.
No, it's not.
It's not true. So I had to learn the hard way of really being obedient to that. But it wasn't settling in my spirit, because people wanted to automatically say, oh, women, that's your audience. And because I'm a woman. And I'm like, I can't ignore the 10% men that rock hard with me, that, engage with me for services and programs. Like, no, it's not gender-based. And then when I realized what God was building, Gene, it was faith. And it's faith-based entrepreneurs. That's what a faithpreneur is, a faith-based entrepreneur with a fidelity to God in organizing, managing, and operating a business, and faith-based professionals looking to add another stream of income to their personal economy. So faithpreneurs and the movement that we've created, and this audience that was coming to Destiny Designers University, it wasn't gender-based, it was faith-based.
It was faith-based.
So we do our work with a certain level of integrity. We do our work with a certain fidelity to what we know God is asking us to do. And you don't have to separate the conversation of faith and finance. You don't have to be poor to serve God, right? You have to be in alignment with what He wants. And you're going to go through some things that are going to apply and build your faith. But what He has for you, He has for you. And faithpreneurs understand that we have to be beacons of light in a very dark world, that we have to be able to shine, unapologetically stand in our faith, and add value to the marketplace and be compensated for it.
Yeah. It's I'm lost for words. It's so, we were talking, and you know how I said I don't want to prepare? It's just like when you see passion in someone, you just can't help but like I need sunglasses, right? And I'm the person usually giving, so I'm like, wait, I wasn't ready. But so talking about dark times, and have you ever went through a time where you start laughing, where you questioned anything, or you had to fight out of something?
Oh, how long we have? This is another 2-hour broadcast? We'll be here all day. Have I ever? Oh my goodness. There have been times where all I could do was grunt. Like, oh. And anybody listening that's been there, when you pray and you can't even get the words out because it's so heavy. You're like, Jesus, take the wheel. Are you getting my memos? One of my babies.
You get my memos.
You get my memos, Lord. One of my babies, Rebecca, I love her to pieces. She said, Jesus, you get my Wi-Fi? Is my Wi-Fi working? My email going through? Because something's not working down here. I'm not quite sure what's happening. And there have been so many times I felt that. And you know what you know because you're walking in faith, but it doesn't mean you don't feel the pain of going through.
Yes.
But the pain brings the struggle, and the struggle yields the manifestation of what God has for you. And you can only wait the wait out. You have to go through that pain. Trust me when I tell you. I could give multiple examples, but I think I'll focus in on giving birth to the Faithpreneur movement.
Okay.
Right? We had our first conference last year at the Marriott Marquis, the New York Marriott Marquis, the center of the universe.
Yeah.
Right?
It's huge.
And there were some moments where I didn't know what was going down. And I was just rocking. I was like, oh, Jesus, did you give this to me? Like I thought you said, because there were pieces that need to come together that only God could do. And that's what I found out he specializes in. The impossible.
The impossible.
So what looks like it's impossible, God's like, I'm going to let you see my handiwork. So when you surrender to me, then you turn it all over to me. And I had to go back to scripture, and I did a whole training on it. The scripture he gave me for the middle, that you bring his word back to him. If you're a person of faith, you can't just read the 23rd Psalm and think you're going to make it. That's not going to get you all the way through, right? There's some other scripture in the Bible that you're going to have to call on. Like there's nothing impossible with God. To understand what that means, that he is allowing you to build your faith muscle in a way that all you can say is, but God. Now I know why the old folks used to hum in church, the old mothers, oh Lord, how I got over. Well, because you got to get over. There's no way around it. You have to go through that struggle to appreciate the fact that it's not about you. That if you truly surrender to God, you surrender to God. So now what I say when I go through the challenges, okay, Jesus, this is above my pay grade, so I'm going to need you to handle this. I'm going to sleep. So that's what I do. Like, I can't do that. I'm not in control of that. You got this. You promised me. Your word said. So I'm going to let you do what you do, and I'm going to go right here and take a nap. Yeah, because that's ultimately what applied faith looks like. So I'm on a mission, Gene, especially for my faithpreneurs, because those who are not faithpreneurs, they're not going to hear my voice. I'm like, that woman's crazy. Like, I don't even understand that. God's not real. The world exploded and we got here. Well, that's what you believe. God bless you. But what I believe is that faithpreneurs need to have the right conversations to fortify their faith and to let them know that trouble does not last always. Whatever you're going through, it's building you for the next part of your journey.
Absolutely.
Trust me on that. Yeah. That whatever God has in store for you, you're going to have to go through your process.
Yes.
And in this day and age with Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, everybody wants to arrive. Now. That you just arrived, like, like I woke up like this. No, my makeup artist did this, boo. Okay? There is a process.
Yes.
And if you go through the process, you'll get to the other side of what you were intended to do. I can't do Gene Alert's assignment. I can only do my assignment. And for me to show how to walk in faith when I don't know how it's going to work out. I didn't know how that Marriott bill was going to get paid, Gene. I told my husband, don't judge me if I have to come down to Times Square for a few days.
He's like, I'm not laughing at this one. Yeah, I like you guys. We gotta talk about
real.
this. Yeah.
It was real. But people will ask him, how do you stay so calm when things happen? He said, because the things I've seen Jesus bring that one through, I don't even get worried anymore.
I don't even get worried anymore.
And let me give you the best one. And I know we're winding down on time. When I wrote this book, Gene, the title came to me years before we published. Walked into a conference and my girlfriend Lucinda Cross was there, and she's like, "Girl, how you doing?"
Oh yeah,
and I
Lucinda.
said, "Yeah, that's my little sister." I said, "Girl, take it, action, despite the distraction." It kind of just came out my mouth.
That's cool.
And I was about to go on stage to host this conference for one of my girlfriends, and it just rested in my spirit. I'm like, I said, Kim Sudduth was her name. And I mentioned it again on the mic, and everybody had the same reaction. Action, despite the distraction. I said, okay, Lord, I guess that's the title. I started pre-orders for the book, Gene. Started telling people the book was coming, and there wasn't no book. My husband is like, when you gonna finish the book? I'm like, I'm gonna finish the book.
That's funny.
December 15th, 2015, my grandmother passed away.
Oh,
and
sorry.
My everything. I'm a spoiled grandma's brat. And She was 98 years young. And my platform had always been dedicated to her. The first products that I created was around the 4 leaves of Lux Clover, which is another part of my platform that I talk about that she taught me. And my husband looked at me and he said, I guess the book's going to get finished now. And sure enough, I set the date for launching the book on my eve of my grandmother's birthday in 2016.
Wow.
So we started planning and promos started coming. I had a big expo I was doing in January. The book wasn't finished. And I'm like, oh boy, what am I going to do? I'm starting to panic. But that's why you have to have the right people in your front row. My girlfriend said, okay, release the first chapter, do some pre-orders, the whole promotion of getting ready. I was like, okay, I can breathe. So we keep going, writing the book, getting it all together. We come down to the end of July. I'll never forget it. Book is about to go to final editing, layout, whole nine. I'm downstairs in our home office and I'm working. And like God has given me the different pieces that I put in with the Faithpreneur footnotes. And I'm adding these notes and I'm excited. I'm like, okay, it's late. Let me go to bed. So I save, power down. Halfway up the stairs, said, oh, I forgot one thing. Ran back down, opened up the computer. I said, let me add. Gene, when I went to let me add, there was no file on my computer. So I'm not computer illiterate. I save documents. My husband is a techie, so everything in my house is rigged. So I'm like, okay, it has to be here. So I'm looking and my pressure's starting to rise. I'm like, where's the book? And I'm like searching everything. I'm going in every folder. No book. At that point, I started literally shaking. And I'm like walking upstairs and I'm waking up my husband. It has to be almost 2:00 in the morning. I was like, babe, the book. So like he's jumping up like something happened to the kids. Like, what's going on?
The kids.
And I'm like, he's like, the what? I'm like, the book. So he has like one eye open. Like, what are you talking about? The book.
Yeah.
So he gets up after he gathers his senses. He walks down with me and he sits in my chair. And I'm like this. And he's looking. And I know, your spouse's facial expressions, their body language, when something is going left. And I'm like, this is not looking good. He was like, you saved it, right? I said, yeah, I saved it. He's looking. He turns around slowly. He was like, babe, the book's not here. I stood in almost a catatonic state at that point. I was like, he was like, it's not here.
Wow.
We're 2 weeks away from the launch date. Invitations have gone out. People have pre-ordered the book. We're doing it right down here in Midtown Manhattan. And everybody is coming. I had no book, Dean.
Wow.
2 weeks. 2 weeks before. I couldn't even get the tears to fall. It was so heavy. I felt like, what was that movie with Denzel? Was it Calvary or one of them with the tear? What was it, honey? Glory.
Oh, Glory,
where
yes.
the tear just got stuck.
Yeah.
The tear got stuck because
wow.
I was like, what? I don't know when I fell asleep because I was rocking. He was trying to console me. And I woke up the next morning and I said, was that a bad nightmare? Did this really happen?
Yeah, I have some of those nights.
And I said, okay, God, if you gave it to me, you're going to have to give it back to me. And I woke up. I emailed our team. They were like in shock. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean the book's gone? I had to recreate everything and just sit. I said, Holy Spirit, you're going to have to bring it back to me. I had to travel in the midst of that. I was on the plane typing. Usually anything moving, I'm sleeping. Before they can give the information about putting on the mask, if somehow I'm out. I was up. I was typing. I'm going to a wedding. After wedding reception, I'm typing, working on the book.
At the wedding reception.
I'm like, okay, I have to get back to getting this book together. My father looked at me because he's in Florida, and I went down there. He was like, you all right? I was like, yeah, Daddy. And I'm just like, tears are flowing because the tears are flowing then. I'm like, we're 2 weeks out. I had a good girlfriend say to me, Stace, you might want to postpone because people are not going to understand if the book's not there. And they've pre-ordered, you having this big event. And she wasn't saying it to be negative. She was saying it out of concern. And I was like, no, I'm not. She was like, what are you going to do? Because at that point, the layout wasn't finished, editing. I'm still getting the book done. When I tell you the God I serve is real.
Yes.
That Friday night, the launch was on a Tuesday. That Friday night, I just sat on my computer just emailing randomly. People, can you do, I need a miracle. I need a miracle. Anybody need a miracle? That's literally what I'm emailing to get someone to do the layout. That same girlfriend said, look, I know somebody. I don't know if she's available, but give her a call. Reached out. Didn't hear from her the whole weekend because she was traveling. Calls me back Sunday night. Sunday night before the Tuesday. You follow me, Gene? Before the Tuesday of the launch. And I said, well, I need a miracle. Let me explain what's going on. And she listened to me. She said, well, I can't promise anything because what I needed takes a week for anybody that's published.
Yes.
She said, I can't promise anything, but send it over. So I said, okay, I emailed it over and I'm praying. When I say I'm praying, my church is laughing at me. It's like, oh, God's got you. My mom's like, come on, we know we built on faith. God's got it. And I'm like, okay, if you say so, then we'll keep moving forward with the plans. I'm not canceling anything. She emailed me back. I think I can do it. I said, okay, but I need it like tomorrow because the printer's saying he can't guarantee. What printer prints 200 on the first run of a book in less than 48 hours notice? Now we're at Monday. No book in hand. He said it has to be ready to go on the galley in order for me to do this. Gene, everything didn't get finished until that Monday night.
Wow.
I emailed him at 2 a.m. Tuesday morning. That man shut down his entire business to print the first 200 runs of this book.
Wow.
That was gone 2 weeks before. My mother and my sister had to reroute coming to the event to drive to Brooklyn to get the boxes. Step and Repeat is up. My makeup is being done. People are coming in, ordering food. And I was standing there trusting God that it would be, because this wasn't about Stacie. This was about the words he gave me for his people. So when I tell you my God is real, what seemed impossible, God showed up and showed out. So when that happens, your faith gets crazier. Then you got an attitude with the devil. Like, what? So that's what you're doing? Like,
Exactly.
You don't know who my daddy is? Like,
Exactly.
That's what you're coming with?
Wow.
Because time and time again, God has shown me he's in control. Time and time again, he showed me what I have for you is for you.
It's for you.
No one can take it. No one can
Absolutely.
duplicate it because you have been created for such a time as this.
Amazing. Action.
Despite the distraction.
That's right.
I lived every word.
Yo, it's so true. When I was listening to your story, and that's an amazing story, and I was looking at your title, and I was thinking about the distractions and the action. It took me to a time when I was putting together. So my company is called ACA Branding, and we were at a place where I felt bored, where I just felt stagnant. Like it was just like, okay, we do this. It's getting boring to me.
Right.
So I said, how can we elevate? So, right idea. Let's put on a comedy show, right? And I talked about that part plenty of times, but the part that really I want to talk about today is the part where the tickets weren't moving.
Yeah, I know about that.
The tickets were not moving.
Well, you need 50 grand and you got 2 grand in the bank. Yeah.
So
I know that.
I was talking to get the show. It was Kevin Hart. And to get the show, this is before Kevin Hart was Kevin Hart. Okay. So to get the show, I was saying, you don't know me. You don't know how to promote to black people. I could do this. Right. Give me a chance. Give me a chance. Give me a chance. They were like, you never sold out any shows.
Not even one on the resume.
Even one on the resume. You never sold. This is theater at Westbury. You guys familiar?
Ooh, yes.
So 3,000 people.
Absolutely.
You've never done a show here. Urban shows don't do well there. They don't sell out.
They sure don't.
And little Gene, was like, I could do it.
Wow.
And they were just like, with who?
With who and how?
Kevin Hart and Tony Rock?
Wow.
Chris Rock's brother? And he does comedy? I was like, yes. They're like, oh, okay, good luck, guy. So they put me on this guaranteed contract where I had to give the artist, regardless if I sell 2 tickets or 3,000 tickets, a certain number. Every week, the agent, because they were just like, it's not going to work. So every week, I had to check in and give them the numbers. So we started promotion in the show was February. We started promotion in November. November, December, January, the numbers stayed around 500. It's like I couldn't go over 500. Like the number, it was like
just stuck.
It was like every week it was like 100 tickets. We did a Black Friday sale, sold 100 tickets. Then Christmas sale we did, and we never changed the numbers as far as the ticket price, but it was just like promotion. I had Egypt, Sherrod, DJ Fidel's wife. Like I had WBLS. I had everyone pushing this show for me. We could not move the needle. We could not move it. And then that's when I gave up. That's what made me, when you're talking to me, I was thinking about when were the times, there was a few times when I just gave up, right? And I said, God, you got it. You're in control. It's not, Gene can't do this. That was the mistake.
That's right.
That was the mistake.
That's right.
So I had to tell my team, because every week I saw that when they knew I was giving the numbers to the agents. So they're like, what's the numbers, Gene? And I'm like, we're at 550. And they were like, but we're at 530 last week. And we were promoting 7 days. We had to hand out 5,000 flyers this week. And we only sold 20 or 30 tickets? Are you serious?
Wow.
So I said, okay. So after my prayer and after I said, I give up, man. Like, but I don't give up on the show. I just give up on Gene, like in control. God, what do you want me to do? Next thing you know, I mean, this is a lie that I told my team, but I was like, every week now, I was like, I told the agents the truth, but I told my team a lie.
Okay.
So when they hear this, they're like, what? But it doesn't matter now. so I was like, yo, man, we up to like 700 now. And they were like, what? Pump in their step. Now they're, then following week, yo, we up to 780. Okay, all right. Next week, no, we're almost up to 900. Then we went on TV. But here's how the devil plays with you. The 2 weeks before my show, Caroline's, Kevin Hart had a show at Caroline's 2 weeks before our show. Why did Caroline's add 10 more shows for Kevin that weekend?
10?
10. Caroline holds 300 people times 10.
Yes.
3,000.
That's what you need. 10 more shows.
10 more shows 2 weeks before. And I was like, really?
Not even one show.
Not
10
one.
shows.
But at this point, I was at I was really at about 1,000, you know? So, but I still needed 2,000 more people. But then the earthquake happened for Haiti, right? And I'm Haitian. So I switched the campaign from Kevin to helping, and I teamed up with a Haitian organization that does work in Haiti, 8AO, and I partnered up and I called 4040 was a client of ours, and so I went to 4040, called the manager at the time, Tommy, and I said, Tommy, I need your help. We need to raise money for Haiti.
Wow.
Turn the comedy show into a benefit. I got I got Good Morning America. I got Pix 11, Channel 9. Everybody started bringing Kevin on. We did a whole press run now. So now we sold out the night of, and it was cold that winter, very cold that winter. You remember that little summer day we had just now?
Yes.
That's what happened the night of February 10th. Came out, no coat, no suit. I mean, no jacket.
Right.
It was just suit. I cried that night on stage when they called my name. We sold out 3,000 seats. We turned away 400 people. Wow. We had to put, in theater at Westbury, we had to put out fold-up chairs. That's how many people we had in that place.
Look at God.
Yes.
Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it.
So when I hear action, right?
Despite
the distractions, there was a lot of distractions. Because when Caroline's made that move, I could have cried and said, you know what?
Forget it.
I give up. When they kept giving me those numbers every week, I could have gave up because I saw it. It was hard.
Right.
I'm talking about our campaign, just to let you know. We were going door to door, not during the day. We were going door to door, giving out flyers in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Whoa.
Because I wanted the homeowners in Elmont and Valley Stream to wake up to go to work at 5 and 6 in the morning and see the flyer so they could go to work and talk about the show. Like, yo, I woke up today, man, and I saw a flyer in my car. I know it wasn't there last night. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know it wasn't there. That means someone came to my house at 3, 4, 5 in the morning. And so I made that announcement during the show. Like, yo, if you got a flyer at your house, it was me. And so many people started clapping, standing up, and I was like, wow. And tears. I couldn't even enjoy the faces, man, because I just saw. So I'm telling you, when God has a mission for you, you have to understand. Me and my wife been married for at the time. Well, now it's 10, but we were married for. Thank you. We were married for 7 years. For 7 years, me and my wife been trying to get pregnant, have a baby. But it's always been in my vision, and it always been that I was going to have a boy, right? And for 7 years, we tried. 7 years. Prayed about it. And at a point, and we had this conversation, me and my wife at Super Bowl. Someone said, did you always want a son? And I'll say, yeah. I always wanted a son. So she was like, so why did you tell me you didn't want a kid? I said, because at a point, there was a point of the relationship where I didn't want to put that pressure on you. So I said to you, it's okay if we don't have a kid. Because I didn't want you to feel away like, oh man, I can't give Gene the baby. So so basically, I took the pressure away, but I kept praying, and I kept praying, and I kept praying. And I said, God, we give up. I'm giving up for my wife. Because once I took that pressure away from us, my son was conceived 3 years ago. Oh, right? Awesome. Healthy boy, very smart, very athletic, sharp. And so, but every time I look at him, I see a blessing. Right? So for those people out there that, I know this is an entrepreneur-based podcast, but, for people out there that, are married and they're trying for a kid or trying for something, like she said, just give up. Like, it's not you. You're not in control.
Turn it over to God.
Turn it over to God. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. Like, turn it over to the higher power, because I'm telling you right now, once that happened, the doctors was like, we don't know what's wrong. There's nothing. We tried everything. The only thing we didn't do is the IBF. What's it called? In vitro. That's the only thing, because I was like, $10,000, really?
It's quite pricey.
Yeah, it is quite pricey. And I said, you know what? And then so as soon as we gave up, it was our anniversary. Next thing you know, she was like, I'm pregnant. I was like, oh, there you go, God. Thank you. So
his timing is the best timing.
And his time is the best timing. And I mean, I'm being very transparent with that story, but it's real, because people just like, oh, look, we have a baby now, but no one tells you the journey, what we had to go through. It was a lot of sacrifice,
Abraham and Sarah, thank God for grace.
Yes.
That we don't have to wait 99 years. Like you waited 7. But it's God's grace and mercy. But what he promised, he will do. And that's what he's showing me. I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, even a year ago. My faith gets strengthened each time I go through because they're different levels. One of my girlfriends said, higher levels, bigger devils. And it's the truth. You're always going to have an attack. So here's what I want to share with the audience. I know this is Faith, Grind, Inspiring. We've been dealing a lot with the faith, but if you get the faith right, you can grind and then you can inspire.
Yes.
So one of the things that I've come to know, the devil is on a 24-hour mission to destroy, rob, steal. He doesn't stop, right? He stays on task 24 hours a day. So we can't be shocked when things happen. Because people say, well, how do bad things happen to good people? Because we live in a fallen world and we all are God's creations, but we're not all his people. So you have to understand that the trick of the enemy is to try to stop you from walking in your divine assignment, because if he messes Gene up, then he messes everybody up who's going to watch Faith, Grind, Inspire. If he messes Gene up, then ACS Productions can't help to brand amazing companies and businesses that have products and services to give. If he messes Gene up, your son doesn't grow up to be the strong valor man of God that he will. He's on a 24-hour mission to stop you.
Yeah.
So when you understand that, his tricks and his antics can't distract you from your assignment.
Yes.
And that's why this is the battle cry. Action, action, despite the distraction.
Absolutely.
I don't care what it is that he tries to come up against. What? That's what you're doing? That's all you coming with? I serve the man who can do all things but fail. So try again, buddy. Not today, not here. I'm God's property. So when you holler action, action, despite the distraction, you halt the enemy right where he is. He's like, dagnammit, I can't get this one, because he's after your gifts and your talents. He fell out of grace and favor. He fell out of the opportunity to be able to be in a place where God loves you unconditionally. He screwed that up. He had his chance. He knows that God loves us so much that he's just wanting for us to give it all to him. Just surrender, my child. And when you surrender, I got you.
Yeah.
When you can't see those footprints in the sand, I'm carrying you. So whatever you're building in your business, you have a desire to do it. It might not be successful year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 10, year 15. But if you know that you've gotten that assignment, stay true to that. Just ask God for the spirit of discernment so you know how to better place your time and energy. Ask God for clarity around your assignment, your mission, your goals, not to be confused with the noise of the world, but to stay true with what you've been given. I don't care if you bake a great cake that everybody wants to buy and you start to think, well, how many bakeries are there on the street? They can't bake the cake the way you bake it. And the people that are going to buy your cake are going to buy your cake. The people that are going to hear my voice are going to hear my voice. The people who will be turned off, they'll be turned off. That's none of my business. My business is to stay true, to fill up my cup so I can serve from my overflow to the people who I've been preordained to serve. And if you stay in that lane as a business professional, if you stay in that lane as a faithpreneur, there's nothing that you cannot do because God's got you. And no matter what you go through, he will see you to the other side, and it won't happen as timely as you would like. I can tell you that. If I could have gotten the cheat notes to skip around some things, I'd been the first person to do it. God's time is God's time. Just wait the wait out. Be faithful, be obedient, and his grace and mercy will see you through. And when he starts moving, you're like, how did that happen? How did I meet that person? You really can't explain it. It's all God.
Yeah.
So when people say, are you always that happy? Even my own child asked me one time, Ma, you always have to be so inspirational. I said, it's a choice. Because I could choose to complain.
Ooh, it's a choice.
It's a choice.
Yes.
I could choose to be upset. I can choose to be depressed. But what is that going to do? I can't worry and pray in the same sentence. So everything that has come up against me, we don't have time in this show to tell you how many times literally the devil tried to kill me. Driving on the highway, metal coming through my car. Punched out, almost dead on New Year's Eve. So many different things we can't even get into here. Literally tried to take my life and cancel me out, but God blocked it. Because it's not about me, it's about what God does through me for what I'm assigned to do and to free other people to do the same. I don't care what the distraction is, if it's toxic people, if it's your own lack of organization, if it's just not moving from the valley of procrastination to the mountaintop of completion. I don't care what that distraction is. You can defeat it. If you keep taking consistent action over a period of time, you can't help build momentum and
preaching
results.
real good. That's what. There's a guy in my church that says that to Pastor Bernard. You preaching real good. I felt like some guy was gonna say that, but I was like, I'll just say it. Shout out to CCC.
Yes.
But oh my goodness. Okay. So two last questions. One. Oh man, I want to ask you this. Yeah, I'll ask you this first. Out of Faith, Grind, Inspire, which one of the 3 words resonate with you and why? I know.
Come on, son.
I know. I didn't want to ask you this, but I was like, But you know what?
I feel they all go together.
Yes.
But it starts with faith. My screensaver on my desktop is go hard or go home. So that's where that grind comes from. The ability, I can work. I have literally done a broadcast for over 10 hours straight. No stop, no food, barely water. They're like, you have to drink because I'm excited to do what I do.
Yes.
Like, I don't need sleep when I'm doing it. And I can get 2 seconds worth of sleep. And I can be yelling at my kids. They love to tell that story. They're going to write their own book about living with me. I can yell at them in the phone. Hello, sunshine. It's Dr. Stacie. I'm on. Like, there's no off button. I'm on because this is what I love to do. And my faith keeps me strong doing it. When the daggers come, when the attacks of the enemy come, when the distractions happen, my faith grinds my commitment and my resilience. I dare you to think that you can stop me because your name is not G-O-D. So there is nothing that I cannot do. And when I really believe that, and there is a connection between what my brain is saying and what my heart is feeling and what my soul is manifesting, oh, I'm a bad mamma jamma, honey, because that is how you apply your faith. It's cognitive dissonance if you say one thing and do another. So your actions and your words have to line up and have to be an example for you first and then everybody else that's connected to you.
Okay.
Because when you're liberated from your own fears, you cause other people to do the same, as Marianne Williamson captured in the Course of Miracles. That's what it's about. So I'm liberating folks. Action, action, despite the distraction. They hear me in the sleep and they see me on the street. They start yelling, action, action, despite the distraction. That's right.
So where can they, so where, the last question.
Yes, sir.
Right? Is there any entrepreneur that you inspired you? You know, anybody?
Oh, that's a hard question. Of course, you know, I talked about my bestie, Oprah Winfrey. But I want to bring it home to not even knowing my grandmother was an entrepreneur until we were preparing for her services, that she had started a business. And I didn't realize that it came literally in my genes. My uncle had started a business. So I've watched people around me. But hearing that story just fortified for me that she did more with less, but one thing that my grandmother did was give it away. People would come and ask to put it on loan and to borrow. Apparently, my grandfather had set up this whole shop, and they would come, and for the Jamaicans watching, they would understand, me beg you, Miss Pearl, get to me today, me pay it tomorrow. Translation means, can I have the product today and I'll bring the money back tomorrow. And that heart of service and giving was something that bankrupted the business. My grandfather shut it down. And I picked up that bad habit along the way unconsciously because I would give people discounts before they asked for it. And doing all this work and not getting paid is called community service. So I had to learn to not look at certain models of entrepreneurship that landed you broke and learn how to ask and command what you're worth. And it's a process, especially for servant leaders, because you want to help. You want to see that your product or your service is making someone's life better. And you're like, well, I'm not focused on the money. I just want to help. But without the money, you can't help, right? So the best way to help somebody is not to be broke. So I had to learn that lesson as an entrepreneur and as a faithpreneur.
Where can people find you on social media? What's your website? Where can they purchase a book?
So the easy way, everyone listening can get the first chapter of the book for free because they're listening to Faith, Grind, Inspire. So if you're down with Gene Alert, you're down with me. You can go to actionactionbook.com. That's actionactionbook.com. And there you can get the first chapter of the book, as well as connect with me on social media at Destiny Design U. That's our company handle on all social media. And then my name. On Facebook is Dr. Stacie NC Grant. On Instagram, Twitter, Periscope, everything else is Stacie, Stacie NC Grant, because if you put a Y in my name, I might black out. Okay, so I look forward to connecting with all of you. ActionActionBook.com. Gene, thank you for having me. May God bless this podcast. May it be above your wildest dreams of the impact and the influence that you will have as a result of being obedient to what God has placed on your life.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You poured so much into this episode. Like, I can't wait for our listeners to listen to this. So, thank you guys so much for tuning in this Wednesday to the Faith, Grind, Inspire podcast. Thank you, Dr. Stacie. And I appreciate you. Like, this was great. This was really great.
It's my honor. I had a great time.
You know,
She said,
we were really transparent today, and you know, I hope so many people get inspired in so many different areas of their lives. Thank you, Tim, our producer, Tim. Thank you, Brianna. Thank you, Ipamosa, Jamie, to our whole OG podcast. Yeah, right. You see, you see. Anyway, all right, let me finish. So now, shout out to Brooklyn, DK all day, United States of Brooklyn
and Queens,
and Queens. Yeah. And so, thank you guys for tuning in. You can catch us every Wednesday. OG Podcast Network, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you listen to podcasts. You can watch this video live. Really? I mean, not live, on YouTube.
Did y'all get my good side?
Yes, we got the good side. Shout out to Brianna.
Yes, Brianna.
And ACA Branding. Thank you guys so much. Peace.